Welcome to Jenny's Kitchen. Have I got a fabulous show planned for you today. I'm going to show you how to make a great romantic dinner for two with some ingredients you've probably never used before, like phyllo dough and puff pastry. So I'm going to do things a little backwards today. We're going to start with the dessert first. But before we get into that, I want to tell you I have an extra added bonus for you. My friend Paul Martin, who's a bartender at the Murphy's Hotel, is going to come on the show and show you how to make two wonderful, delicious drinks to accompany this meal. So let's begin. In this bowl, I have cut up some berries, some raspberries, and some strawberries. And we're going to sprinkle a little sugar on, probably a tablespoon or so. And we're going to combine the berries with the sugar, and then we're going to add a splash of dessert wine. You can do port or anything else that you want. Today I'm using a Cabernet dessert wine, but the choice is actually yours. We're going to give this a little kick at the end. And then we're going to cover this up and refrigerate it and let it get nice and cold, and we're going to move on to the next step. Now, we're going to be making, using phyllo dough, baskets, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. But before we do that, I want to show you how to prepare some more of the filling. So we're going to take some cream cheese, just a package is fine, and we're going to pop it into the processor. I find that if you don't put the whole log in, it blends quicker and it gets more thoroughly combined. So I'm just going to cut it up into chunks, pop it in here. And to this, we're going to add a little powdered sugar. Well, I think we're going to add some powdered sugar. There we go. The spoon will give me a little help. If I was doing this by hand and not using my processor, I'd sift this powdered sugar first to get rid of the lumps that always come with a box of powdered sugar. And then we're going to zest a lemon, and we're going to use the juice from a lemon also. So this is my handy little zester. It has the holes at the top. Your index finger goes on the top, and you just pull down. And look at these beautiful ribbons of peel. You don't want to get the white in there because it's called a pith, and it's very tart and bitter, and you don't want that on any of your food. Okay, now we're just going to basically cut this in half. We're going to put this into our lemon juicer, and we're going to juice this down. And I'm going to use the whole lemon because your powdered sugar is sweet, so you're kind to use some lemon to kind of even out the flavors. Oh, that's beautiful. And this way, when you use something like this, the seeds don't get in. Okay, let's put this on. We're going to blend it for just a couple seconds. That's it. Very simple, very quick. Now, I want to introduce you to phyllo. I'm going to show you later in the show how we're going to combine all these ingredients and make these beautiful dessert baskets. But right now, I'm just going to push this off to the side because we're going to need this. So I'm just going to put it into that, like that, and we're going to move right on with our phyllo baskets now. This is phyllo dough, and it's normally into the freezer section. It's extremely papery thin. So in order to make sure that it doesn't dry out and crack and break, you're going to dampen a towel, wring it out real good, because if you don't, then your dough gets real soggy, and you don't want any soggy pastry at all. So here it is. This is what it looks like. And then you're just going to place, you're going to take a sheet like this. Actually, I have a couple sheets here. And you're going to lay the towel over the top, and you're going to start working with your puff pastry. Pardon me, with your phyllo dough. Puff pastry comes later. That'll be with the main course. Now, as you can see, this is very, very delicate. We're going to lay this on top. And then we just have a little melted butter. And we're going to brush this. This is going to act like a glue. It's going to keep all of the pastry sticking together. And you don't have to saturate it, but you want to get it enough to where when you put the next sheet on, it won't break on you. You can see how this is kind of falling apart already. You've got to work quick. You have to be fast when you do this. Again, we're just going to get, I'm not concerned too much about the edges because I'm not going to really be using the edges. You can, but I'm not going to. And then we're going to take the last sheet here, and we're going to put this on. Make sure that it's all even. And as you build your layers, it's going to get thicker, and that's what you want. Now, you need to cut these into 3-inch squares. So I came up with a great idea. These little notes, your little stick-em notes, they're a perfect 3-inch square. I keep a lot of these in my kitchen. And then I'm just going to start like this. And I'm going to start cutting out my 3-inch squares. There's one. There's two, and so forth. Then you're going to take your muffin tin. As you can see, I've made a couple ahead of time. And you're going to butter the insides, because you don't want these to stick. These are going to slip right out. And then you're going to pick up your square, and you're going to lay it right inside. And it makes a very nice container. Now, if you want it a little thicker, you can just keep adding layers. I normally do 3 or 4 layers. And that's all there is to it. And then you would bake these at about 350 for about 10 minutes. Actually, phyllo dough is what they make baklava with. And as many of you know, I'm of Lebanese descent, so we ate a lot of this growing up. And it's a fabulous, fabulous tasting pastry. But like, again, you got to be quick, and you got to work with it and make it quick. Okay, that's about it. We're going to put this last one in. And then whenever you put this into the oven, like I said, 350 for about 10 minutes. Okay, with that said, I'm going to introduce you to my friend Paul, who's going to make his first cocktail. The first cocktail he's going to make for us will be a Valentini. What do you think about that name? Paul, come on. Thank you. Nice to see you as always.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thank you very much for coming on and showing our viewers how to make some great cocktails. I know I appreciate it, and I'm sure that they do too. So tell us about this Valentini and show us how to make it.
Well, it's pretty simple, very straightforward, not a lot of complicated ingredients. So,
good. I like that.
It should be easy to make. What you do need is either your favorite white liquor, either gin or vodka. In this case, we're going to use gin today, just because that's the traditional martini. And a little bit of champagne, and a little bit of Chambord. And we're going to combine those all to make this Valentini. So,
before you start, can you tell our viewers what Chambord is made from?
Chambord is a raspberry liqueur. I believe it's out of France.
Yes.
It's very popular. It's sort of in the soft and sweet, smooth sort of genre.
It's very good
as far as liqueurs go. So it's a great complement to pretty much any white you use. Typically raspberry teenies and that sort of cocktail is what you'll use Chambord with. And it's also a dessert cordial, which you'll just serve it straight up by itself.
Well, I was thinking I could have poured those over my berries for our dessert today too, and that would have been great. So either way.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's great. So we're going to start with the fresh lime. The recipes that you're going to see, sometimes I'll say use Rose's lime, but I'm more of a fan of fresh lime.
Me too.
Just makes the ingredients that much taste nicer.
Sure.
And so since we're going to make 2 of these, we're going to use a full lime. If you're just making one, about half lime per.
Okay.
And you squeeze the lime directly into the shaker.
Okay.
I actually throw the lime into the shaker because the pulp, I think, adds to the cocktail also.
The fragrance of that lime is wonderful
it's nice,
too.
Yeah?
It's fresh. It's a lot better than a canned or jarred juice would be. Okay.
If you would, will you fill the shaker to the brim with ice?
Got it.
a lot of times people think you can skimp on ice, but ice is actually important to the chemistry. And then I take my martini glass and I rub a little bit of lime on it. And this plate is sugar, regular granulated sugar, and this plate is some of our Chambord. And we're basically using this as our garnish for our drink. A little bit of sugar, a little bit of Chambord. Give it a little color.
That looks beautiful.
It's very light, but it's very nice. We'll actually add to the flavor of the drink also.
Right. So as you're sipping, you'll get that nice Chambord flavor along with your Valentini.
A little bit of sugar to sweeten it. Very good. And then again.
There you
A
go.
little bit of Chambord. Thank you, my dear.
You're very welcome.
And so those are ready to go.
Looks beautiful.
Now, at this point, you'd say you'd use about 2 ounces of your white per cocktail. So we're going to pour out about 4 since there's 2 of us.
Okay, very good.
We are doing dinner, right?
Yes, we are doing dinner.
Very good.
And a cocktail or 2 before.
Right. And then about half as much of the Chambord as the white of either gin or vodka. And then a healthy dose of champagne.
This looks delicious already.
Healthy portion, again, probably about the same as you would do the gin or the vodka, about 2 ounces.
Can you hear that champagne fizzing in that glass?
And then you shake a few times very sternly.
And if you don't have a shaker, what could you use, Paul?
A pint glass, and you can top it with either just a small plate. You can even use your hand if you want to.
Sure.
It is very functional. And then
look at that beautiful rose color. I'm
nice.
impressed.
Chambord is
the color is
lovely.
Beautiful. That's gorgeous.
In there, but
that's all right. So the reason why I use a lot of ice is to keep it as chilled as you can, right?
Chilled, and actually as the ice melts, it sort of congeals all the flavors together. Believe it or not, it does really complement pretty much any cocktail you make.
Okay, very good.
And
well,
that would be
2 our romantic dinner for 2.
Cheers.
Oh, is that smooth and delicious?
Light, yeah.
Yum. This is a great summer drink. I'm telling you right now, this is going to go as one of my favorites. This is so good. I think I'm going to just drink my way around the glass and get that little Chambord sugar rim.
Sugar and Chambord additive. It's good.
Well, I have to start cooking again, so
Well,
we'll see you later in the program for your...
we'll do another one.
And it is called...
It's called a My Love Cocktail.
My Love Cocktail, just for me. Aren't I special? Paul, thanks. We'll see you
You're
toward
welcome.
the end of the program.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. When I think romance, I think hearts. Everything should be hearts. So on today's show, I'm going to show you how to make some beautiful hearts out of puff pastry. I use puff pastry for almost every meal of the day. You can find it in the freezer section, and again, like the Phyllo Dough, you need to work with it in a manner that's going to be somewhat quick, because once it gets to room temperature, then you have a hard time peeling the layers off. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to do a wonderful salmon en croûte, another French term which basically means something wrapped. So we're going to wrap fillets of wild salmon into our puff pastry. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little Dijon mustard and I'm going to smear it on the puff pastry. Now you'll notice I'm not working out of a jar, and the reason for that is because I would have to throw the whole jar away, because I don't want to contaminate my food. So always just put in a little bit of what you want to use into a bowl, and if you have a waste, it'll be a little waste and not a huge waste. Okay, this is it. We're done with that. Now I'm going to take some of my Jenny's Kitchen seasonings, and I'm going to make a rub with olive oil to smear onto the salmon. So we're going to put some into a bowl. We're going to add some olive oil, probably a 2 to 1 part. I've got probably a tablespoon, so I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil here to this. Okay, and then we're going to stir it up. And when it gets to the right consistency, it's still a little too thick, so we're going to add a little bit more olive oil. And then, oh, this looks beautiful here. You want something like this. where it's not real thin from the oil, it still has some body to it. Okay, now we're going to take this piece of salmon and we're going to take off the skin. And the best way to do that is to just start at the small end and cut all around the edge of the salmon until it comes off. Another way, to have done it would have been to cut on both sides and then to run my knife up the back of the salmon, holding on to the skin and just going like this and taking it right off. So either way, whatever you feel the most comfortable with. Now we're going to spread some of my rub onto one side of the salmon. I like to get the sides in addition to the tops. And then we're going to flip it over like this, and we're going to do the other side like this. Again, try and get the sides. Put on as much or as little as you think your taste is going to desire. And then we're going to do the same thing to this one here. Again, we're just going to rub it on the fish. And then we're going to put this like this. Scrape the bowl like this. And I think that probably does it. Then we're just going to cut the puff pastry so we can cover the entire fish. I'm going to say we're going to cut it right up the middle like this. And then we're going to fold the ends in. Sometimes if it catches, you just got to pull it apart. And then we're going to fold this little piece up and fold this piece over like this. And you need to moisten the edges so that it sticks, but because we have the Dijon mustard on it, it's going to stick just fine. And then we're going to lay it on our baking pan like this. So let's do the same thing here. Let's fold it over, fold it up, and then fold this. We're going to make a little package. And then you're going to lay this like this. And now we're going to cut some hearts with cookie cutters. And we're going to lay those on top of the puff pastry. And it's going to puff up and make a beautiful, beautiful presentation for this. Now, you should roll dough. I don't care if it's pie dough, puff pastry dough, whatever. You should always roll it on either marble or granite. And as you can see, I didn't have to use any flour, which would otherwise toughen the dough. I can just use it in its natural state. You know what? You can just save these, roll them up. Sometimes I'll make cinnamon rolls with a little dough that I have left, or sometimes I'll toss them. Sometimes if I have another piece of meat, like a little pork or something, I might wrap that up with it. But I'll tell you what's really good in puff pastry is breakfast sausage. Yummy. That's really, really good. And the nice thing about puff pastry is it doesn't have to be perfect, because it'll all puff up and hide all your mistakes. And we all make them in the kitchen, including moi here. Okay, now we're just going to lay these onto the salmon. And then we're going to place this into a 375-degree oven for about 20 minutes. And when you pull them out, it looks like this. Now, isn't this gorgeous? Look at that beautiful color. So when I'm doing a presentation on a plate, I think to myself, I need color. Because this, in all intents and purposes, is not colorful, but it's beautiful. So I'm going to pick some bright colors to put on the plate with this, and we're going to get to that next. As I said earlier, when you're doing a presentation, think color. So on this beautiful pink Cupid plate, we have the salmon and the puff pastry. Now this looks drab by itself, but by the time we finish today, it's going to be a beautiful presentation. So I've taken some tomatoes and I've hollowed out the center, and I've steamed some green beans, and we're going to basically fill the center with the green beans like this. And I've made a Dijon mustard sauce, and we're going to just kind of drizzle some Dijon over that. And I thought another beautiful color would be a different shade of green, but yet green. So I cooked up some fresh tortellini. And now we're going to add a little bit of basil oil to this to keep it from being dry. There it goes. And because you know me, I love things a little lemony, I'm going to put in a little bit of lemon oil as well. And we're just going to lightly toss that. Not a lot, just something to give it a little And it'll complement the salmon very well too. And then we're just going to stir it up. Make sure all the tortellini is coated. And you'll know it's all coated when it becomes very, very shiny. And then we're just going to scoop some on the plate. And we're going to sprinkle a little bit of shaved Parmesan on that. And then we're going to take some Greek basil here. And we're going to put it in the middle. And if we're going to have fish, we need a little lemon maybe. So we're going to cut up a lemon. I love these granite counters. I can cut, roll, do everything on them. They're wonderful. And we're going to place that right here at the top. There you have it. Isn't that beautiful? We took a drab colored food, dressed it up with some other colors, and look at the gorgeous presentation it's made. Now, the last food of the day will be a wonderful spinach salad, and then Paul will come on and do his last Oh My Love drink. A lot of people don't use spinach in their salads, and some people do, but most people always go to lettuce. Well, I really like to have spinach salad at least once a week because it's so full of iron and it's so good for you, and it's very, very tasty. So here's a bowl of spinach salad here, and I'm going to make individual salad plates with these beautiful little heart-shaped dishes, but I do want to mix everything into the bowl first. And by everything, I mean the salad dressing. We're going to make a great cranberry salad dressing with balsamic vinegar today and some extra virgin olive oil. Toss that, and then we're going to plate it up. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to pour about, a third of a cup of balsamic. Now, believe it or not, there is very much a variation in different balsamics. This is a more sweeter balsamic. So when I'm using this, I'm going to be using equal parts of extra virgin olive oil with it. Normally, when you do a salad dressing, your acid, which would be your lemon juice, vinegar, whatever, is always a 2-to-1, 2 oils to 1. But with this wonderful, high-quality balsamic vinegar, I'm just going to make equal parts. And you know what? If we do that, I'm going to be here for hours. So let's just pop the cork and let it flow. And there it is. And we're going to put in a little cracked pepper. And we're going to sprinkle on some salt. And some fresh toes of garlic. We're going to use our little garlic press. If I'm only doing a couple toes, I'll use the press. If I'm doing more than that, then I'll use my actual garlic chopper. Okay? See how it just squirts out that little hole like that? And into the dressing liquid it goes. One more time, one more squeeze. I always like to try and get a couple. Squeeze it, the finer the better. And then the rest we're just going to pop into this. Now, you can use this in a jar. You can get a container like I've done. And you basically just shake it. That's all you do. And then we're just going to pour it directly on our spinach. Look at that beautiful dark color. Isn't that gorgeous? Get that big toe of garlic. Someone's going to have a feast tonight with that. And we're just going to mix it up a little bit. The nice thing about spinach is that if for some reason your dinner doesn't go timed as planned, it'll actually marinate the leaves. They won't get soggy like your lettuce does. So that's another good reason to use spinach. And sometimes I like to combine butter leaf lettuce and spinach leaves. Baby spinach is wonderful. I always take from the stem up. I cut where the stem is, throw it from the stem down away, and then wash it real good and spin it. Because spinach does have a tendency to be gritty if it's not washed thoroughly. Okay, so we've done this. We've tossed all this. Now, let's just ladle some of this into our beautiful little white hearts. You know what I said about romance and hearts? We're just going to put this like that. Doesn't that look good? And we'll do another one. Get this stirred up a little more. You can always tell that you have enough dressing when your leaves become very, very shiny. That's so important. Okay, let's put some on this plate now. Like this. I think I'm going to borrow some from here because we're going to sprinkle a few things on top and I don't want it to overflow. And it's okay to do this. Okay, now, with that in mind, let's pick up this one here. We'll just lay that there. This is a teeny tiny heart cutter, and you can get this at any good kitchen store, and they come in a container like this, and there's tons of different shapes into this container. Squares and triangles and circles and rectangles and clovers and anything else that you might need. And you're going to take a segment of a bell pepper that's been washed and cleaned, and you're going to just press it to flatten it out, and then you're going to take your little heart cutter and you're just going to press down. Hear that? And the hearts pop out. Looks like this, and out come the hearts. There you go. So now we're going to place some hearts on top of our salad. And I know some of you are going, oh God, this is going to take long, it's going to be tedious. If you really care about someone, make this a labor of love. And we're going to lay these across like this. We're going to sprinkle on a little feta cheese. Oh, I love feta. Isn't this a pretty color combination? And then we're going to take some grapes, and maybe we'll just put a couple of grapes around. Whoops. And there you have it. A beautiful little spinach salad. Very, very colorful. A lot of love went into these dishes. Now we're going to do the dessert, and then Paul's coming on with his drink. And for our grand finale, we have our dessert. These wonderful phyllo baskets stuffed with berries that have been marinated in a liqueur with a little sugar and the cream cheese filling. So here's what we do. You just take a basket, put it on a plate, grab a little bit of the cream cheese filling, put it right on the bottom. Don't let it fight with you like it's doing with me. Win, you be the champ here. And then take a couple of these berries, spoon it on the top. We're going to get a raspberry and a strawberry. Ooh, isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh. The way I cut the berries, instead of slicing them horizontal, I sliced them vertical, and they look like little hearts, which made me really happy. And then just put a couple of walnuts on. If you want to sprinkle some on, that's fine. So we're just going to keep filling these. And your sweetheart will be very much impressed with all the effort you went to today to make a wonderful meal for him or her. So with that said, I'm going to now turn my kitchen over to my friend Paul Martin, and he will come on and prepare the last drink of the day, and then we'll meet you for our presentation. All right, here we are. Our last drink of the day, Oh My Love Cocktail. I can't wait to sample it. His first cocktail is going to be a hit with me. It's going to be one of my favorites. So Paul, you want to come on out, please? And let's show our viewers your next round.
Well, thanks again for having me, Jenny.
Absolutely.
Sticking with the Valentine's Day theme, like the Valentini had champagne in it, seeing
Right.
as we've corked this bottle, it'd be a shame to waste it. So
It certainly would be.
We'll just incorporate it into our next recipe. This is called the Milo Cocktail, and it's basically just champagne. And you can use either regular Brut or Asti Spumante if you like that better.
Okay.
For a little bit sweeter flavor.
Okay.
But I went with the Brut because I like it a little more dry
Okay.
myself. And so you add champagne, and then green creme de menthe, about a 3/4 ounce.
Ooh, look at
pour
that. That is
For a
beautiful.
little color. And then to sweeten it up, last but not least, you don't specifically have to use pineapple juice, but that's my favorite.
Okay.
But it's also good with, say, mango,
I bet that would be good.
guava.
Very good.
Any
So something
sort of-
tropical.
Definitely.
Something
definitely.
tropical.
To help
Okay.
sweeten it up and soften
Okay.
it a little bit. So you do a healthy pour of that.
Oh, wow, look at that. It even made the color a little lighter.
And
Wonderful.
if you want to, you can garnish it with a fruit wheel, some kind of kiwi or something like that. But I thought it was just kind of nice and more
It's
classy,
beautiful.
straight up like this.
I think I'm going to serve this on St. Patrick's Day. What do you think?
Oh, very good. Just invite me.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're very
Again,
welcome.
I really appreciate you being with our viewers today and giving them some tips on easy cocktails. So with that, let's have a sip and go on to our presentation.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Same to you. Paul, that is good.
You think?
I love cream de menthe too.
Good.
Well, our labor of love is paid off. We have these beautiful colored cocktails to sip from throughout the evening. We have our beautiful spinach salad with the grapes, the feta cheese, and the heart-shaped red bell peppers. We have our salmon en croûte with our puff pastry hearts on top, our tortellini with Greek basil and shaved Parmesan, and our tomato centers with steamed green beans and our Dijon sauce. And then as our finale, we have our berry phyllo baskets with the cream cheese base and the walnuts on top. So with that, I think we should begin our evening of wonderful food and beverage.
Love to.
And I would like to thank my sweetheart bartender for coming on Jenny's Kitchen and making a couple of great drinks. To you, Paul.
To you, Jenny. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
having
You're
me.
very welcome. Salmon en croûte. 2 salmon fillets, 1/3 to 1/2 pound each, 1 tablespoon Dijon mustard, 2 tablespoons Jenny's Kitchen Sensuous Seafood Rub, 4 tablespoons extra virgin olive oil. Sheet puff pastry. Lay the pastry on a cutting board and roll it out. Brush the mustard on 2/3 of the dough. Cut the unbrushed sides off. Cut the brushed piece in half. In a small bowl, mix the rub and olive oil until it becomes a paste. Spread this on both sides of the fish. Lay the fish on the pastry and fold to enclose the fish. Turn the fish over and lay it on a parchment-lined baking sheet. Using a cookie cutter, cut heart shapes from the unbrushed dough and moisten one side. Lay these on the fish wrap pastry. Bake 375 degrees about 20 minutes. Spinach salad with pomegranate balsamic vinaigrette. 1 bunch baby spinach washed and spun dry. 1/4 cup crumbled feta cheese. 1/4 red bell pepper. 1/2 cup halved red grapes. Place the spinach in a bowl. Add the grapes. Cut heart shapes from the pepper. Add that to the bowl. Sprinkle with the cheese. Pour the vinaigrette over the top and combine. Vinaigrette. 1/2 cup pomegranate balsamic vinaigrette. 1/2 cup extra virgin olive oil. 1 toe of garlic minced. Salt and cracked pepper to taste. Place all ingredients into a jar and shake until combined. Pour over the salad. Green beans and tomatoes. 1 tomato, 1/4 pound green beans. Wash and dry tomato. Slice it into 1/4 inch slices. Cut out the center of each slice. Set aside. Steam green beans. Place 3 or 4 beans in the center of each tomato. Drizzle the Dijon sauce over the vegetables. Dijon sauce. 2 tablespoons Dijon mustard. 2 tablespoons champagne vinegar. 1/2 cup extra virgin olive oil. Mix the above ingredients in a bowl of a food processor. Gradually add the olive oil through the feeding tube. Remove from the processor and pour into a squeeze bottle. Pasta with basil. 1 cup cooked pasta of your choice. Basil olive oil. 1 tablespoon chopped Greek basil. Cook pasta al dente. Drain and set aside. Toss with enough basil olive oil to coat. Add the basil and toss. Berries in phyllo baskets. 4 sheets phyllo, 1/4 cube butter, 1/2 cup fresh berries, 1 tablespoon sugar, 1/4 cup dessert wine or port of your choice, 4 ounces cream cheese, 2 tablespoons powdered sugar, juice of half a lemon, and zest. Lay a sheet of phyllo dough on a cutting board. Brush with melted butter. Repeat using all the dough. Cut into 3-inch squares and place into a muffin tin cup. Bake 350 degrees for 5 to 7 minutes. Remove from the oven and cool. Mix the berries, sugar, and wine and set aside, allowing the flavors to marry. Mix the powdered sugar, cream cheese, lemon juice, and zest to combine. To assemble the baskets, place a tablespoon of the cream cheese mixture in the bottom of the basket. Place a heaping tablespoon of the berry mixture on the top. Makes 6 baskets.